Crime Book Club. I am here with Chris McDonald. Anyone who knows me knows what a big fan I am, hence the big cheesy grin. So, hello, welcome, congratulations on the publication for Little Ghost. It's been out about a week.
Yeah, last Friday.
Last Friday. Was it the 25th? Have
Yes.
I got that right? Okay. Congratulations. Show off that gorgeous cover and tell us a bit about Little Ghost, Irving Ash, whatever you want to say about it.
I will. So this is the cover, which I had no hand in, so I can say I love it. Sean at Red Dog does good stuff.
He does.
It's about a private investigator called Irving Ash who is a bit down in his luck. So he hasn't had any jobs coming in. There's something sort of hinted that he's done that's throwing him off most people's radars. So to make some money, he's working at an adult entertainment studio as a security guard.
Is that what we're calling it? Adult entertainment studio?
That is what we're calling it. I did it last night with Rob Parker to spare his blushes, so I'm sticking with it. So he's a security guard, which is not the best job. But one night when he's on sort of the night shift, he sees the company's top earner, a woman called Brandy Love, go into the studio and a man follow her.
Have you changed it from Brandy Divine?
It is Brandy Divine, yeah. No, it is Brandy. Yeah, well done. I don't know why I'm thinking Love. Brandy Divine, and he goes in and he sort of sees her having a bit of a kerfuffle with this guy that he doesn't know. So he sort of tries to warn him off, and after that, Brandy Divine goes missing. And the guy that owns the studio hires Irving Ash as a private investigator, and he has to go and find her, and that is the story.
Now, I was lucky enough to have an ARC copy of this, and I've been excited about it for weeks. I absolutely love American PI stuff.
Yeah, me
and
too.
It's very rare that I get to read it. So when you told me what you were writing, I was like, yay, okay, I want this. But then I have reread it because I bought a copy as well on Kindle, because obviously I read an ARC, so there could have been changes, which is why I thought, have I missed that you've changed Brandy Divine's name? But no, you just...
Nope. Just got it wrong.
Brandy Love. Kaz has said, Chris, how ready are you for the end of term? Oh. So for anybody who doesn't know, what do you do, Chris?
Primary school teacher for my sins. Yeah, I'm so ready for term. My little girl is being a bit of a handful at the minute because she's so exhausted. She's 4, and she was awake for about 3 hours last night, and I am so shattered. So I'm really looking forward to the weekend and the end of term.
Absolutely. We've already got a cheeky question from Guy Hale. Is this autobiographical, Chris? So I was having a video chat with Guy earlier on today, and he said he was going to come and wind us both up because he knows he can make us both blush. So never mind sparing Rob's blushes last night. Guy, behave.
No, it is not, sadly. I've never been to Denver.
I don't always ask this, but I know that you've got an answer and I'm intrigued. So where did the idea come from?
So one of my favourite books from last year was a book called A Man Named Doll, which I have brought a prop for here, by Jonathan Ames, who So
I'm going to have to go and read it now after this rave review from you.
It's so good. So it's about a private investigator who, I can't remember where it's set, but it's bonkers. Like, my first draft was a bit more like it, just like weird, and mine was a bit like that. And then Sean rightfully said, take the weird stuff out and just make it like hard boiled kind of thing. But I absolutely loved it. It's so funny, and once I read it, I thought I'd really like to have a go at writing a PI novel, and that is where it came from. So yeah, Jonathan Ames does amazing things. He's written that. The follow-up landed on my doorstep today, but he's written things like PG Woodhouse type, like a butler kind of thing, and trailing this man across the America, and it's really, really funny. But this was so different, so this is where the inspiration came from.
Donna says, you want me to tell Sam what you were talking about last night, Chris? Now, I'm guessing this was, I couldn't watch last night because I was interviewing, but I'm guessing this was you and Rob having some fun and games last night.
Yeah, well, someone asked, because I've written in a few different genres now, what genre would I like to try? And
Somebody's nicked my question.
well, you might get the right answer tonight, because somebody suggested on my behalf erotica, and then we moved on to what my erotica pen name would be.
I'm intrigued. Go on.
Well, after some discussions, we went for Chad Walloper.
I feel like Donna should give herself a name now. You've walked right into this, Donna.
Yeah,
What's your
Donna,
porn
get it in the
star
chat.
name? You must have had so much fun writing this, because when I was reading it, I didn't know there's a different side to your humour in this book. For a start, there were things that just made me really guffaw laughing. But oh dear Lord, who has said that? Oh, Guy Hale. Thrust Starbanger. And that's the worst thing I'm saying all night, so now behave. I've not started blushing yet. That's a good sign. Donna, you're banned. You're banned from asking any more questions. Right. Whew. Okay, back we go. So I love this, and I said it was like it had an old-fashioned vibe to it, but with a modern take, and I love that because it's so hard to do, to have that, that thing where you feel like you're watching an old PI movie. That is what comes out in this book. You must have had the most fun writing this.
Yeah, it was. It was really fun. Especially, I'd written 6 cozy crime novellas just before it, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to try something that I'd never tried before. To make it sort of dark and violent, but still, I think if there's too much dark and violence, it can overpower everything. So I think that with a little bit of comedy, which is why he sort of had his I wouldn't call him a partner, but brother John. I wanted to make us a sort of, even though he's a scary, scary man, a bit of light relief as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was. There was just bits where I think it needed that little comedy break almost.
Yeah. Let's go to the beginning. Jimbo's bar. Is it based on anywhere?
Not really, no. And it's funny,
is Jimbo based on anyone?
Jimbo's not. No, it's strange. Like I've never been to Denver. I've barely been to America. I've been to New York and Florida for like a week here and there, kind of thing. But I just thought where would be cool, and Denver has like the Rockies in the background, and it just has like quite a nice vibe from what I could see. So I did a walking tour of Denver on YouTube, where a local filmed himself walking around, kind of chatting about it, and I just wanted. I wanted like the first scene was him, which I think is the second chapter now, where he sat in his kitchen opening some mail kind of thing, and I thought I quite liked it because it was like it sort of showed him at his lowest ebb almost. And when Sean got it, he said, "You should have him do something a bit like mental in the first chapter, where you sort of show him at his worst." So that's why he follows a man into the toilet and sort of batters him up a bit, but for a good reason. So you see that
it's a good reason, yeah.
So he's capable of violence, but he will only do it if.
But you've seen his heart through the violence.
Yeah. So I thought that was quite a nice way in. So yeah, it was. No, I imagine what like a sort of dirty down and out bar would look like, and that's where it went.
I mean, the whole thing is just really surprising. Because obviously, like you say, you've just gone from cozy and now you're doing PI. There must be so many differences and so many things that you might have wanted to try in one that you kind of think doesn't fit the genre. So were the things you were really looking forward to doing with this one?
There were, yeah. I think with the first Erica Piper books, it was a bit gory and violent without me really realizing how gory and violent it had been. And then the cozies were a completely different thing, where I think I started writing them during the first lockdown, when like my flights home were cancelled and I couldn't get home, I think, for 2.5 years. So Stonebridge was kind of a way of me being in Coleraine, which is the town that it's based on. Mm. And then with this, yeah, I just wanted to do something like completely different and up the ante a bit. And even when I sent the first sort of 10,000 words or so to Sean, he said it still reads a bit like a cozy, like you can go further here. So the first draft was a little bit in the middle, and then we worked on like, yeah, making it a bit more of everything.
Who was the most surprised when you were saying everyone's expecting another Stonebridge, which is cosy, as you say, and then you go, no, actually, it's a former PI who is down on his luck, and then he goes to do security at a porn studio. Whose jaw hit the floor first?
Well, Sean at Red Dog, because he was expecting the sixth cozy that we'd signed the contract for, and I think I did it during. I think I was supposed to be writing the third Erica Piper, and I sent him the first chapter of a cozy thing, and he was like, "Great, it's got legs, but let's do the thing that you're supposed to be doing first." And then we had the exact same conversation. He's like, "Yeah, write that after what you're supposed to be doing now." So yeah, he was really up for it, and I think it's been great that he's allowed me to kind of go off on these tangents. So I think I was saying I quite like things in threes. So the fact when Stonebridge ended and there was a six, it felt like a natural end, and with Erica Piper, it felt natural as well. So yeah, threes are good, I think.
I always say that, and my husband thinks I'm a bit odd.
Oh,
Maybe
there you
that's
go.
not the reason he thinks I'm odd, but threes. I always think threes is a really good thing, and I've no idea. Do you have any idea why three is such a good number?
It's a magic
Is this
number.
something everybody thinks? Is it just us? I'm
Comments.
intrigued.
Threes, magic. I don't know.
See, that's it now. All I can hear in my head is three is the magic number.
I guess there's like trilogies for a reason. Like it's a thing, isn't it? So yeah, I don't know. Maybe we're just tuned into natural endings.
So, what are you working on at the moment?
What I'm working on at the moment is a secret, I'm afraid. I so we were talking about before whether there was going to be a sequel, and um, I always imagined this as a standalone when I started to write it. We talked on our podcast to Adrian McKinty, and he'd written a series, but then he started doing these like big blockbuster standalones, and he said it's amazing because no one, if you don't want them to, has to survive. Um, there's no off limits
What
kind
a
of thing.
good way of looking at it.
Yeah, which I really liked. So while I was writing it, I just thought if the main character dies at the end, it could happen. Like no one's gonna say you can't because it has to survive. So I very much wrote it in the standalone mindset. Um, and then the more I grew to like him, and I kind of thought I could keep them going and things like that. And then I think I'd written the first 10,000 words or so of the follow up, and then this amazing opportunity came along, which I'm not allowed to speak about yet, but something might be announced at some stage this month. Um, and all will become a bit clearer. I really don't like when I watch people say they're not allowed to say anything because it's so frustrating, but I really can't.
But it must be really exciting for you. Now you're on the flip side of it.
It is, yeah. And I'm quite an impatient person, so yeah, I'm just always wanting the next thing. So this is good, and I'm about 20,000 words into this, and I'm really enjoying where it's going. So yeah, sorry to be cryptic.
It's fine. Seeing as you've mentioned it, we should talk about the Blood Brothers podcast. So you've just reached 100 episodes. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we're
Which is so exciting.
it is, and I mean, what an opportunity it was. The fact that we get to talk to like megastars every week. Robert Craze is another PI novelist that's like I think the Cole and Pike books are on 24 or something like that. Um, they're amazing, and we got to talk to him last week, and he was just the coolest man. Um, and it is like the big names that you think. I don't know, like they come with us. They've done it for so many years. You think it'll be like sort of sound bites or whatever, but people are so honest and candid, and I'm really willing to give you like I don't know if advice is the right word, but you leave it feeling inspired that they're just a normal person after like all these the hundreds of awards and stuff. So yeah, we've been really lucky with all the people that have agreed to come on, and we've got in the future too.
Which leads nicely to the fact that I wrote down that you must have a lot of advice to give yourself after so many books and different styles as well now. Plus, you must have learned some great things from doing so many podcasts. And obviously, some of your closest friends are authors. You spend a lot of time with them, a lot of time talking to them, a lot of time going out to events, and just probably just going to the pub and stuff as well. So what advice? Give us some. How do you do it?
Whoa. The first piece of advice that when I was writing my debut, and debut novels are a strange thing because you're writing it in the hope that someone might read it, but I was very green about the whole thing, so I thought, like, once I'd written the first draft, I just thought, well, that's it. And then going through the submission process is like madness, and there's no guarantees. So during the first draft of the first novel, I just stopped every so often and thought, well, this is crazy. Like, it's a massive waste of time, probably. So I'm spending my evenings when I could be doing normal stuff, writing about this weird world that I've created. And so I stopped every couple of weeks and just thought, nah. And then I'd think, actually, let's see what happens next. So it took a while. And the best piece of advice I was given there was, I think it was John Connolly said, if you can get to move the story on by even a paragraph or a page or something each day, you'll have a novel in no time, kind of thing. So I would aim for like 500 words, and then it was broke it into manageable chunks, which I think is like the way to go. Because 90,000 words or whatever, like the standard novel is, seems just like, how do you do it? But if you, yeah, manageable little chunks is the way forward, I think. And also the best one was keep a series Bible. Because when we spoke to Mark Billingham, he was saying in book one that, like, he didn't really pay attention to the character's appearance, and then book five he got an email saying, "Now it's just supposed to be green, aren't they?" And he was like, "Well, I don't know," like, just blasé. So he said from that he wished he'd sort of kept more details about who was what and where. So that's a really good piece of advice. I think that, I mean, from one of the best there is.
Yeah, I can say if you just look here, my
Yeah,
Mark Billingham shelf,
yeah. What a
and I got
shelf.
to interview him earlier this year. I think it was June or July. Um, when how do I not know the name of this off the top of my head? When the murder book came out, um, Alex got to interview him, and I've let everybody else go first. Go, no, it's fine. You interview him first, knowing that I was probably going to sit with sweaty palms and fall over my words. And every time I see him in person, the first thing that always comes out of I'm such a moron. The first thing that always comes out of my mouth is this photo from years ago, before I was doing the book club, before I was interviewing anyone. I went to a book signing in Deansgate in Manchester, and it was Mark, and it was Chris Brookmeyer. I was going to say Ambrose Parry, which is obviously him and his wife Marissa. And there's a photo of us, and it's lurking in the book club, and it's on Twitter somewhere. And I'm like beaming, but thinking that I didn't look, thinking I'm being cool and calm and collected. And then I saw the photo, and I was like, oh. And he
Fail.
looks terrified. And it's the first thing I say to him whenever I talk to him. And at this point, he must be thinking, right, come on, Sam, calm down. You've known me a few years now. But no, not calm at all.
Yeah.
Have you shown yourself up in front of anyone, Chris? Have you been a bit
Yes.
starstruck?
Well, the first time I went to Harrogate, because I think my debut came out in February 2020, just as everything went into lockdown, so I couldn't go to
Does it
any
not feel like
events.
you've been doing it so much longer? Anyway,
I know, what, 3 years in February, yeah.
wow.
So I didn't get to go to anything, and it was only through the podcast that I think it started in the summer of lockdown, or the March or something. So um, I knew quite a lot of people from it. So when I went to the first festival, it didn't seem too daunting. But I got pretty drunk pretty quickly, and I absolutely love Mick Herron. His Slow Horses series is just incredible. And I remember coming down the stairs of the hotel, and he was there holding a burger, and I was just like, "Your books are amazing," and he was like, "Thanks very much," and I was like, "I'll let you get back to your burger," and then walked off and thought, "Oh, flip me, I've just absolutely." But he was very nice. I saw him the next day and apologized, and he was like, "Nope, no need to worry." Um, I think that's the thing with the crime community. I know that there's Twitter is a lovely place amongst that, maybe not such a lovely place in general, but the writing community seems like a really beautiful place. And I mean,
Yeah,
your book club is case in point, but everyone from the top to the bottom, I think is like it's an insecure thing, isn't it? Like the best of the best are in
yeah,
exactly the same position because they have to make something up and hope that people like it. And I think that I really think that everybody, it's a very, people pull each other up, I think, and they're very good at promoting each other and things like that. So it's a lovely place. So festivals are great because the biggest names in the world will have a pint with you, and it's lovely.
it really is. I was supposed to go to Harrogate last year, but for various reasons I couldn't go on the day. So the first actual festival I'd ever been to was Capital Crime in London last year, and you, it's just lovely. We just wandered around on the field talking to people
Yeah,
and wandering up to people, and people recognise each other. And some people didn't recognise each other until they got the names, and then like, oh, we talk all the time, and it was just really lovely. And we've talked about the fact that it was a little bit chilly at times, but I just think everyone was being a right load of wusses because I was just in a thin cardigan, and everyone's kind of in scarves and coats and dithering, and I'm like, I'm from Manchester. This
yeah,
is not.
northern.
This is nothing. This is nothing. It's a bit of a side wind. What are you whinging for? So yeah, it was just really nice. It's that thing of walking over to people and again showing myself up in front of Mark Billingham. He probably just rolls his eyes when he sees me coming now. But everyone's really humble. Everyone's got imposter syndrome. Everyone's just having the best time. I can't believe the look.
Yeah,
Whether they're a reader or an author, stood there talking to people. Really lovely.
yeah,
So we've got you coming next year for the UK Crime Book Club
yes.
live event.
Oh, I can't
So
wait.
I believe it's either the 3rd or the 6th of June. When's Rob's wife's birthday? Because that's when it is. Not expecting you to know Rob's wife's birthday. I was just trying to think. Somebody tell me, is it the 3rd or the 6th of June? My memory is shocking the last couple of weeks,
It's the
but we're
middle
really looking
Saturday of,
forward to it.
yeah, it's the middle Saturday of the half term. So I don't know what that is, but it's,
Somebody will tell me in a minute.
yeah,
But so you're coming with Sean and Rob, who are the other blood brothers, and with Jonathan Whitelaw, who is flying in from Canada to come and join us, which is just madness.
what a lovely man.
He is. He's absolutely adorable. He is. You're all the gentlemanliest gentleman in crime fiction, you four. So what else have you got going on? Other events that you've got lined up for next year?
Um,
Thank you, Sarah Blackburn, 3rd June.
there we
Rob
go.
doesn't know his wife's birthday is. I'm assuming that's Guy. Yeah.
What else? Well, I'm going to Newcastle Noir next weekend. Not on a panel or anything, just going. And my friend happens to be playing a gig in Durham in the evening, so I might go see him. Um, which is nice, from Northern Ireland, and I've not seen him in probably about 10 years, and it just so happens we're both there, so it feels like a right thing. Um, and then I'm going to Bay Tales up in Whitley Bay in March time, I think it is. Then yours, and then I recently signed with David Headley from DHH, so
You did.
I think I'm going to be at Capital Crime
Congratulations.
next year. Thank you. So yeah, it's all shaping up to be a pretty good year.
I think you were one of the first people to book the hotel.
Yeah, too right. I was. Yeah, honestly, if I can get a night away, I'm there.
I have to ask this. Husband, dad, teacher, author, friend and mad supporter of other authors. How are you upright?
Yeah, it feels like I shouldn't be at times. I always say that I'm very lucky that my children go to bed at like 6:30.
So they're
Uh,
still little, aren't they?
they
So
are
I remember
fine.
those days, 6:30 bedtimes.
Yeah, which I don't fear is going to last very much longer, and then something will have to give. So maybe this is like my twilight years of being an author, and then might never see me again.
But really, like realistically, how do you manage your time?
Um, well, they go to bed. because teaching is like a mad job. So I get into work at like 7:30 and try to blitz as much as I can during the day. Get home at about 4:30, 5. Um, spend some time with my children, and then they go to bed. I let them settle, and then I write for about an hour and a half a night. And I don't know, like it feels like a relaxing thing. And I was saying last night, it's an honor that people read what I do. So
Mm.
the fact it feels, again, I don't know if relaxing is the right word, but you get to come up and enter this little world of your own, and um, it is. I mean, otherwise I would just be lying about doing, watching telly or reading, which is fine, and that's I do that, but it feels like something that just takes away some worries, or I don't know, it's a strange thing. It's hard to explain, but I just really enjoy it. It helps me switch off until I'm lying in bed at night thinking, what can happen next? And then,
We should, above my shoulder here, Gone Anthology, we should give this a mention. So 30 authors,
mhm,
you're one of them.
yeah,
Stephen Jay Goulds has edited and contributed. I'm still to pick it up yet, which is infuriating, but it's something that I'm going to be able to read while we get a 4-week break at Christmas. So that's where I'll be able to pick other things up, which will be really lovely.
yeah,
So you've done you hosted a podcast,
yeah.
so talk to us a bit about Gone and how it all came together.
Well, Stephen Goulds is an incredible author. He writes like poet. Well, it's not poetry, but it reads like it. It's just so beautiful, but it's dark and it is visceral, and it's yeah. Um, so when he said he was putting it together, I leapt at the chance to be included. Um, I think he had over 700 submissions, and he had to whittle it down to 30.
Wow.
So I feel very lucky to be included. My story is about it's called The Newmans, and it's about a family that live on this estate, and it's I think it's only about 3,000 words, maybe 10 pages, and I can't really say anything because it would all give it away. But it's Stephen Gould said it's the darkest thing I've ever written, so
Mm.
that can give you a bit of a clue. It was pretty horrific, but really enjoyable, really really fun. So yeah, and then we did a podcast where we had Stephen lives in Japan. Stephen Keedy and me were in Manchester, and then we had Trevor Wood, who was in Iceland for Iceland Noir, and then there was Ted Flanagan and Bev Vincent, whose best mates was Stephen King. So it's just a bonkers thing that I was talking to him, and they were both in
Wow.
America, so it was like a very worldwide thing. But he'd just be like, "Yeah, when I was talking to Steve, we are like, yeah, he's just calling Stephen King there." And I asked him what, because he's Bev Vincent did an anthology of his own, and Stephen King contributed a story to it. So I was wondering, like, does he take edits well? Like, do you edit Stephen King, or do you just be like, "Yep, that's going in as it is"? He said he's very good at taking constructive criticism.
I suppose you have to be. I mean, you can't not take criticism, whoever you are. If
Yeah,
there's something wrong, surely you don't want to be that person in any kind of world. But particularly where people reading your work, you don't want to be that person who only gets by just based on your name when nobody
yeah,
really wants to read your stuff anymore because you're too big for your boots.
yeah.
Not that Stephen King's not allowed to be too big for his boots. Let's be clear. But that must be it's something that even though you didn't know there was going to be editing, you were saying when it was your debut, you didn't know how much was going to go into it. I'm guessing that once that happened, you kind of just went with the flow. You are like the nicest person around.
After my temper tantrum, honestly, that I just thought
I
Sean.
can't imagine you having a tantrum.
Oh man, you want to see me earlier? Um, I remember it really, really well because I'd Sean had phoned. Uh, he said like I'll get back to you by the weekend, and I got a message on like or an email on the Friday night being like we'd really love it and we'd love to publish it. So I was like, oh my goodness, it's happening. And then about 2 weeks later, I got he sent an email first saying, I'm going to send you some notes. We just remember we love the story and this is what happens. So I was like, okay. And then I got an email like a page and a half A4 being like changes or suggested changes, and then I read the manuscript and there was like notes everywhere, and I just shut the computer down and said to my wife, "Well, I'm not doing it." And she was like, "But he's trying to make you better." And I was like, "I don't need to be better." And I was like, "What an idiot! Of course I do." And I mean, in the second book, and this shows you how little I learned. In the second book, there was a bit where a body gets discovered in a canal, and Sean and I were at the pub, and he was giving me my notes face to face. He said, "We need to talk about a theory. What happens when rocks are in water?" And I was like, "Well, they sink." He said, "Yeah. In your book, you've written the rocks floated to the surface." So there you go. That was book 2.
I like that.
And you very quickly learn that someone else reading your work is much better at spotting all the stupid things that you do that you don't.
The thing is, though, that there must be very, very few people in the world who can realistically edit their own work.
Yeah. You're so blinded
It's
by
just
it, aren't
not
you?
possible. Of course, you'll be reading something and you must have been sure that the rocks would float. You
Because
must
why
have
wouldn't they?
been.
Why wouldn't they? Yeah, an
Are you
idiot.
better at handling your edits now?
Oh yeah, I look forward to them actually because I think I they do like as soon as they come through, I think, well, that's obvious. Why haven't I done that? Yeah, that's the wrong word for that. There was someone I can't remember what it was, but there was someone standing. I think I meant sentinel, like they were like a guard. But I wrote sentient, so they were like a machine. So yeah, those were some of my finest moments.
I can't tell you some of the words that I've edited where people have thought they meant one thing and they actually meant. I'll tell you afterwards. I'm not repeating. There's one that I'm not repeating online at all. I made a note of something that because your attention to detail is always spectacular. With this one, with Little Ghost, I really loved it because you feel like you're in the dive bar. You feel like it's an actual place when you're in Jimbo's or haven't visited a porn studio, but I feel like I have now. And that's as close as I'm getting before anybody starts. But
Yeah, me too.
in fact, let's ask about research. How did you research some of this? Did you just kind of make things up? Did you? I know you used Google for a walking tour of Denver, which is a genius idea when you can't get there.
Yeah, and really interesting.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, the walking tour was good because I sort of um, knew little details that I think if you throw in a little detail like a certain type of tree lining a street, it really brings it alive without you don't yeah, it doesn't even have to be 100% correct, but if there's like pink blossom falling on the street, then that's a lovely little visual that really takes you in. So there were just little things I noted down that weren't like a massive feature. Um, they were just little things. And then I watched Louis Theroux went and spoke to like it's quite an old one, I think, but he went and spoke to a few porn stars, and it was just like horrible. Like it's not a nice
I can't
industry at
imagine it being a
all.
nice industry, even slightly. No.
No. So I want. I think it's without going into it, you feel like it's quite a glamorous thing, but actually the behind the scenes stuff's just horrific and so cutthroat. So I really wanted to make it be that shallow. So I think the warehouse is like I wrote that there's like a bit in the middle. I don't know if this is right or not, if it really happens, but there's like the warehouse floor and it's split into like sort of 4 with a partition so that there can be different scenes wherever they need to be and like costumes and stuff. And it all came from that Louis Theroux thing that was really a great watch, but quite harrowing.
I do remember seeing an advert for it, but I've got to admit this is not going to go down well with everyone. But I don't like Louis Theroux. I can't watch him.
Oh, what?
I know. Maybe I was not having a good day. Maybe I'll try again at some point. But I don't know what it was. He just irritated me. I
Oh man.
probably irritate a lot of people though. So who am I to talk? He's got a lot more people watching than I have. So
Yeah. I think he's very good at being impartial. So he will let people tie themselves in their own knots. And the only time that he's ever, you could tell he was like sort of personally annoyed was in the Westboro Baptist Church one, where they just kept repeating the same stuff. And yeah, you could see him getting a bit annoyed. So yeah, I love him. I think even if you don't like him, the porn one is a really good watch.
I'll try him again. I watched. I can't think of his name. I can pick David Farrier, who is labelled. I think he may have self-labelled as the poor man's Louis Theroux, but he did Dark Tourist, which is a Netflix series.
Yeah.
Did you watch that?
I've not, but I've seen it advertised. Look great.
Fantastic. The things that they go into there. So yeah, sorry, Louis. It was probably me. I'll take the hit on that. Laura says he needs to get his newsagent on side. Birthday, wedding, anniversary card picked out for my dad when he collected the newspaper. Oh, so if you don't know your wife's birthday, if you get the newsagent on side, they'll remember it for you. That would be me. So it is well documented that I am terrible and forget my own wedding anniversary. My eldest reminds me the week before.
Oh, good on her.
Not that we actually celebrate. So, but no, Dave's great with that. He forgives me because I am dreadful at dates. Dreadful. There's alarms for everything.
Yeah, it's what you need. There's too much going on, isn't there, for wedding anniversaries?
I mean, I've had 20 of them, so I should remember by now, but not really sure. Not really sure. Sarah said, my hubby always forgets when we got married. Forgive him, Sarah. It's not that he doesn't care. He really does love you. He's just rubbish. Same as me.
You'd make a good agony aunt here. That was very
eloquent for me.
Yeah, it was very nice. Yeah, caring and great advice.
I'll go back to the attention to detail that I was mentioning before, because I wrote down the pool table being used as a table because the drinkers can't be trusted with the pool cues in Jimbo's. That really made me laugh. So there's like this really dusty pool table, and Jimbo's collecting glasses off it because they just can't be trusted with the pool cues. I mean, if that doesn't set the scene, I do not know what will. It's just so clever.
Thank you. It's really funny, isn't it? Because that, like, that I probably wouldn't have thought about that for more than 10 seconds, kind of that decision. But it's so nice that it stuck with you. And there's something I'm reading an Ellie Griffiths book at the moment. I think it's book 5 in the series of like her long running Ruth Galloway. And Harry Nelson, who's like the big sort of manly policeman, drives fast and whatever. And in this book, it's usually set in Norfolk, but in this book they're up in like Lancashire, and it's where he's from. And there's a line where it said, moving to the south had emasculated him. And it's such a funny line because obviously that's how he sees it as the character, but he's such like a manly macho thing that's not emasculated in any way. But it just really made me chuckle that like she's so in the character's head of that is probably exactly what he'd be thinking, but no one else is, and it's really stuck with me. Yeah, so it's really nice that you've noticed that little detail that
it's just filled with them. It's filled with so many little details that just really bring everything to life. You've clearly put so much time and thought into it, even if it's just 10 seconds to you. It just adds so much. The depth it adds with just these details is so good.
Oh, thank you.
I met Ruth Galloway. Did you know that she's based on a real person, or the name is real? I met her in London last year. So I was gobsmacked because I hadn't realised that there was a real Ruth Galloway. I believe somebody's going to correct me here, I'm sure. I believe she has a bookshop.
All right.
I'm hoping that I'm right. Like I said, my brain's been like a sieve the last couple of weeks. I'm guessing this is Guy who's asking, does all the violence come from teaching kids? What year group do you teach?
Year 6.
Year 6. Okay, yeah. They do kind of change. In my experience, might not be everyone's experience, they come into year 6 and you think, how are these kids ever going to be ready for high school? And halfway through the year, you think, right, enough.
Yeah. I love them. Like, I think it's such a good year group where you can have a bit of crack with them and stuff. Yeah. So no, they're not where the violence comes from. The violence comes from deep within.
from one of the gentlest men I've ever met.
Yeah, never been in a fight in my life.
No, me neither. I wouldn't know what to do. Shouldn't say that. No, we're both really tough, aren't we? We could absolutely fight our way out of a paper bag. Would be great.
Yeah,
We'd be
yeah,
fine.
good.
We're really hard. We know what we're
Make,
doing.
make a good crime fighting duo. Bride name
I actually did
McDonald.
think we should start our own PI office.
Yeah, I'd be up for that.
I would absolutely be up for that. I'd be dreadful. Absolutely. Can you imagine? No, I'd drive you insane in the first, I'd say 3 hours, but 3 minutes. Within 3 minutes, you'd be like, no, this was a mistake, Sam.
Never, never.
Guy wonders if any of the parents have read your books. Do the
Yes,
kids know? Do the kids know that you're an author for a start?
yeah, and they love it. My a couple of them have had some of the cozy crime books on their table. Now, some of, I mean,
Oh, of course, yeah.
yeah, and some like there's no swearing in them, and the violence is very, off screen, so it
It's
is
off the
okay.
page, yeah, it's not.
But there's been a few bits where I thought, I recommended. So I did a book talk in my local library probably about 2 months ago, and one of the kids from my class came with her mum, which was lovely. And their mum at the end was like, "Oh, like we'd like to get one. Which one would you recommend?" And I was trying to think which one is the least sort
Oh.
of thing. So I recommended one, and then thought afterwards, they talk about like sexy handcuffs at one point and stuff. So I'm like, oh, I picked the wrong one. Hopefully, she's too young to understand the sort of references.
You'd be surprised what they'd understand. It
Yeah,
is kind of horrific if you really think about it.
yeah. But after my debut came out, so after the first, yeah, after that came out, the next parents' evening, it would be like, how do you think your child's setting into year 6? And we'd talk them through, and then they'd be like, and tell us about your book. What's it about? It's like, I don't know if I'm allowed. But it was nice, yeah.
um, I think it was Chris Sims who was saying to me that walking around Marple with you, it's like everybody knows you, and your book launch, at the library was really good, and just that it's like walking around with a celebrity walking around. You just adored in your area, which
Oh, it's
doesn't
nice.
surprise us in the slightest.
I think I think just being a teacher is like, because they're like sort of year 8s now, whatever, that I would have taught, that still would be like, all right, Mr. McDonald, as they walk past, and like big tall like lads that you think, oh, it looks a bit down there, but it's so lovely. So yeah, it's a really nice thing that you get to make like sort of connections with all these families and people that, yeah, it's really lovely. It's such a great job. Like there's a lot that's hard work about it, but
Yeah.
after everything's in, yeah, it's great.
What Christmas songs are you learning at the moment? Have you even doing Christmas shows and things in schools again? Is that
Yes.
happening now?
So my little one's learning her reception songs. Year 6 aren't doing anything actually. We've got off lightly. Year 5 do a Christingle. Um, but yeah, we don't, so it's all right.
Is that the
Yeah,
thing with the oranges and the candles and the cloves and the?
yeah,
Okay,
which I don't
it's
understand
been
at
a
all.
while for me, so.
Yeah, I see them walking around with oranges with candles in it, thinking just another day in school.
But so year 5 are doing a Christingle. Are you not learning any Christmas songs? Is it not kind of?
Nope, nope. We're the only Christmassy thing we've got is a Christmas advent calendar that's, you click on it on the whiteboard and it's a song. And we'd listen to that as we're going
I've
out to get our
never
stuff.
seen this.
Yeah, the guy that works in year 5 made it a few years ago and updates it with like new ones that come out every so often. It's really good. It's a nice way to end the day. Have a bit of a boogie.
So do you pick one of the kids to come up and press?
Yeah. And then we
I
all,
like that. I like that thing of every child gets to be involved in something.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
good. Nice way to end the day.
Oh, you're making me really miss my job now. It's all right. It comes and goes. It'll be
Yeah,
fine.
I bet it does.
Donna said, it took me a second to understand this. Donna said, Sam, you were nearly foxed by a slope. And I really didn't know what she meant, but Capital Crime, there was a ramp up to the stage. And everyone looking at this metal ramp that was on the side was going, I'm never getting up that. We all did, but it's that fear of, really, that there's no steps, we're going up a slope. Oh, okay, we're going up a ramp. But actually, it was fine. And as somebody stood at the top and held the hand out, and I kind of said to the authors, right, I'll go up first, and then I'll help you up when I'm at the top. And everyone will be watching me make a fool of myself. Nobody's going to look at you going up this slope. And as I got to the top of the slope, the audience clapped. So I did kind of a curtsy and like danced my way across the stage, and nobody watched the authors go up the ramp, so they were all happy because they're all watching me dance across the stage like a lunatic. So yeah, thanks, Donna. I was nearly foxed by a slope. Somebody has asked, are you going to stay in America for the next novel? But you can't talk about it. You just can't say anything. You can't say where it's set or anything.
England.
There we go. I believe that's Guy, and that's all you're getting.
Yes.
You're getting England.
It's all I can say, I'm afraid.
Have you got more Blood Brothers to go before the end of this year? Because we're in December. Can you believe we're in December, Mr. McDonald?
No, it's
my word,
isn't it? Yeah, we've got a few. So we've got John Mars this Monday, CJ Tudor the next Monday, and then a Christmas special with S.J. Bennett, who's writing the Queen Investigates novels, and Alexandra Benedict, who's writing like Christmas standalones. That her post Murder on the Christmas Express, I think, is the most recent one. So we've got those, and then we have our like book of the year where people have been voting. So we closed voting today, and we've tallied the results, and there's a winner.
How do you go about that? Donna said, "Oh, just small names then." How do you go about that? Because I know as a book club, we've talked about having different things, and we've decided that it's really impossible to do certain things, you know, to try and be fair to everybody. How on earth do you decide what to do? Do you go from books that the three of you have read, or how do you go about it?
We let Twitter decide. So we put out a thing every year around sort of mid-November saying like, tell us your book of the year for the official thing, and then we just tally up what people have said. Some people DM us, so they don't want. So yeah, we've tallied it up, and there's a clear winner this year. We had we did, so the first year we did it, Chris Whitaker, We Begin at the End one. So we had him on to chat about it for like accept the award kind of thing, and it was lovely. Last year, Will Carver's Psychopaths Anonymous won it, and then this year, a very worthy winner.
You can't say yet, no.
I cannot say.
I'm just going to stop you, just in case you were just going to say it without thinking. I was just going to jump in and say, no.
No. Yeah, so we usually put it out as a sort of on the end of the last episode of the year, which I think will be the Christmas special. So it'll be a really nice one.
Pamela Carroll Wilson has said she missed your chat at the library. Any plans for another next year?
Yes, I'd love to. The library people were really, really lovely, and we had a really nice crowd. So yeah, it's one of the things that I've put down for that I'd really like to do next year. Someone Trafford Libraries got in touch today to say would I be interested in doing something. So I'm not quite sure what that means. Like, is Trafford Libraries, because there's like Stockport Libraries, which is lots of different libraries under one umbrella. So I'm not sure if it's like Trafford Library.
The same for Trafford.
Yeah. So yeah. I would love to do something in Marple Library again because it was relaxed and home crowd, I guess, for a football analogy. It was really friendly and lovely. So yeah, hopefully. Yeah, I'd like to.
Guy wants to get a signed book from you in the pub after Crime Central. So it's generally the authors that are on stage that night with Rob. For anyone who doesn't know, Rob Parker he's an absolute legend. We adore Rob. He is the host at Crime Central in Manchester at the Central Library. And every week he has, every month, I wish it was every week, every month, he invites 3 authors on. And how many have you done so far?
2, but without meaning to.
Explain that to everyone.
So when he was setting it up, he did like a trial run where he had a 3 panel. And I think it was like Tuesday night and Wednesday night, and I'd done the Tuesday night. I'd been to watch the Tuesday night. It was Joseph Knox and a few others. And the next night it was supposed to be S.J. Watson and 2 others. And S.J. couldn't make it from Brighton because of train strikes or something. So I got a call being like, do you want to step in? It's like, yeah, I will do. So I got the train in, did that. And then the next month it was supposed to be Johnny Whitelaw, but he got stuck on traffic on the motorway, so it was a cozy crime thing. So he phoned again. He was like, "I know you spoke last month about Erica Piper, but do you want to come and speak about cozy crime?" So I sort of feel like I've shortchanged people 2 months in a row.
You did not shortchange anyone. I did miss the first one, but I was there when Jonathan was supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And that was the first kind of official one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it was really lovely.
It was a great night.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to appear there at some stage under my own steam.
So, Guy, order yourself a copy of the book and bring it to Manchester with you, because we're going for the Christmas special with the Northern Crime Syndicate. I believe it's the 14th. So
Yeah.
will you be there that night if people want to get a signed book?
No.
You'd have to bring it with them. You're not going to be there anyway.
I'm not. It's so the last Wednesday of every half term we get to go home from PPA. And I thought, right, getting to Manchester early.
I've just realised where this is going. Yeah, sorry.
It's my daughter's nativity that night. So there go. I can't. I was sort of thinking, like, how could I work around it? But I don't think
You
I
need to
can.
tell Rob teachers can't do things on a Wednesday night. It's just you can't.
My staff meetings are usually either Tuesday or Thursday, so Wednesday would usually be perfect. So this is like the one thing ever where it's on a Wednesday. So I won't be.
We should really talk more about Little Ghost. What has the feedback been like for it?
Really lovely. The authors that have I sent out like a few arcs to prominent people like yourself and other wonderful authors. And it's been so lovely. It's only been out since Friday, so I don't think it's arrived at a lot of people due to like slow postage and stuff this week. So I think only a few people have got it. But everything so far has been really positive. There were some really lovely comparisons to people like Carl Hyacin and Hamnet or Dashiell Hammett and Ross McDonald, like all the people that I read and think like heroes in my eyes, and just to have such kindness is such a lovely thing. I absolutely don't believe any of it, but it's nice to be in the same conversation. So yeah, I think it's gone down.
Nobody's got any reason to lie to you, Chris. Nobody. If people didn't like your book, they wouldn't be taking your calls. They wouldn't be inviting you for interviews to talk about it.
I think it's just you automatically go to like self-doubt, don't you?
Of course.
On anything. So yeah, it's a strange thing, but it's been really lovely, and just the names of the people that have agreed to read it and stuff like that. It's just been so lovely. So yeah, no, it's gone down well, I think, so far.
Pamela says it's her next reading. She can't wait to start it. It is fantastic. Excellent. It is absolutely just brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
I've got the Amazon page open here, and I'm just going to read a couple of these comments that you had. Marion Todd, pacey, punchy, and thoroughly entertaining. Irving Ash's Sam Spade for the 21st century. And Stephen J. Golds, Little Ghost is McDonald cracking his knuckles and displaying his real writing chops, mature while edgy, brutal yet poignant, punchy yet elegant, a real standout crime novel. I mean, what a review that is. It's
especially from him.
Really right. If his reviews are that good, then I can't wait to pick his books up.
And I mean, I only sort of send it to writers that I have enjoyed reading, kind of thing. So that to get like when he sent that, and I mean, his stuff is just otherworldly good. Like I don't think anyone else writes like him, and I think it's a shame that he is not like ruling the universe with his writing, because he really deserves to. So when he sent that, I was just like blown away by how kind, and because he's an honest man as well, he would tell you if he didn't like it. So it seemed heartfelt.
It's a great review, absolutely great. Put my my couple of sentences to shame, definitely.
Here, any kind words, very much appreciate it.
And we've only got 4 minutes left, so give us a potted history of Chris McDonald books. So we've got Erica Piper, Stonebridge, and Irving Ash. So just give everyone a hint of what genre each is and where they're set?
So the Erica Piper books were the first trilogy that I wrote. They are sort of police procedural thriller kind of things. They're set in Manchester. She lives in Marple like me, so that was the lazy way out that I took, so that I didn't have to go into Manchester and do loads of research. She pretty much lives in the same house as me, so that one didn't take a lot of creativity. And then, like I said, I wrote three, and then I thought, right, I'm going to try something else. And I'd been reading. Red Dog put out a lovely collection of books called the Cherringhams, which are like little cozy crime novellas. So I thought, well, I've got to write some of those. And I did, and there were six of those in the Stonebridge Mysteries. They're only like 100 odd pages, so they're really quick and easy, and hopefully fun. Like they were
You
so much
really
fun to
are.
write, and hopefully that came through. There's like sort of short and punchy and not too bloody. Which the main character faints when he sees blood, which was my way around getting getting not having to write anything. And his best friend works in a care home, and there's like those scenes were some of my favorite things I've ever written, where it's just the old folks having like fun with each other.
I
So
will
that
just
was
say as well about that one. My mum's got the hardback special edition that I bought her, the signed copy, and
yeah.
she's reading kind of one, and then she's reading something else and going back to it. And she's absolutely loving them, which I knew
Oh,
she would.
that's
So
lovely to
thank you
hear.
for
Thank
that.
you. So there
And
were
then on
six of
to
those,
Little Ghost
and then
after
Little
that.
Ghost, and that's where we are. Yeah, Denver. So like a radical departure.
Why? We've really not got long, but why Denver? What was it that fascinated you about Denver?
Um, I got asked to go to a book club, like a virtual book club, to talk about the Erica Piper books, and they were from Phoenix. Well, the
Oh,
main person was from Phoenix, Arizona,
mm,
and they were all dotted throughout America. And I just thought, like, it blew my mind that anyone in America had heard of me. Um, and Denver's not too far away from Phoenix, and I think in the book he goes to Phoenix at one stage. It's been so long since I've written it. I think he gets a plane there, and he's not very good on planes. So Denver was pretty close, and I just thought it looked like a nice place from what I could see, and it wasn't too big, which I think was key because like if it's New York, it's sort of sprawling, and I
yeah.
kind of want it condensed. So yeah, that was why Denver. I quite like the idea of the Rockies in the background of everything, and that was sort of what swayed it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much to everyone who has joined in tonight. Thank you to Guy and Donna for teasing us. And thank you. I've been really looking forward to this. And it's just really nice when you get to know somebody and they really are as lovely in person as you think they are on camera. I mean, you really are. What you see is what you get, which is I just knocked half my desk off, which which is we'll pretend that never happened, which is really lovely, and we always have such a nice time at the Manchester group.
Yeah, yeah, it's
So
always
we've
lovely.
got people saying thank you and they can't wait to see you in Newcastle.
Oh, thank
So
you. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
just
Lovely to see
remind
you.
us, Newcastle Noir next weekend.
Yeah, yeah, a little night in a hotel. In fact, I might even skip the whole thing and just sleep for like 24 hours. So you might not see me, Donna, actually, unless you're venturing into my hotel room. Weird way to end it.
Yeah. And on that note, thank you very much, everyone. Go and buy Little Ghost. I'm going to give you a sneaky hint. Chris knows this, but it's on my top 10 books of the year that will be announced at some point in the book club. So, what a lovely way for me to finish one of our final interviews for the year. So, everybody go and buy it. I absolutely love it.
Thank you so much.